A dingy, soggy summer evening on the West Coast. Hollywood's the kind of town where they stick a knife in your back and then have you arrested for carrying a concealed weapon. This was my town. For 16 years, I've been a cop. For 16 years, I've been living in dirt, and take it from me, some of it's bound to rub off on you. I wish I'd never heard of the Maltese Cheese, but it's as good a tale as any to tell on a night like this. Ned was a private detective on the lower floor of the Lower East Side. Here's the lowdown on what went down.
It started that night, and it started with a woman. It always starts with a woman.
Hello, Ned.
Well, if it isn't Flossie. Good to see you. But you didn't come for me now, did you?
Oh, Ned, why are you always so cross with me?
You lied to me.
I lied for you. I lied for us.
I never confuse business with sentiment, unless it's extremely profitable, of course. So, I could use a good laugh. What is it you need from me this time?
Ned, have you ever heard of the Maltese Cheese?
Sure, doll, but everyone knows that's a myth.
No, Ned, it's no myth. I've held it in my paws, hands, and I need to find it before they find me. Don't you have any sense of decency or integrity?
Decency and integrity are fancy words, but they never kept anybody well fed, and I've got quite an appetite.
I'd always been fascinated by how someone could cross the line between who they were and who they could let themselves become.
If that's a fancy way of saying you'll pay me, then I'm on the case. I know a little guy who knows all about cheese, Swiss, Gouda, and maybe even Maltese. Let's go, doll. I needed a drink. I needed a lot of life insurance. I needed a vacation. I needed a home in the country. What I had was a coat, a hat, and a gun. I put them on and went out of the room.
It was a night when you don't know your friends, but strangers looked familiar. A night like this, the smartest thing to do is nothing. Stay home. It was like the wind carried people along with it.
This is Bo, alias Bo, also known as Bo. He answers twice to the name Bobo.
Nice to meet you, Bo. Ned here says you know a little bit about cheese, and maybe a little bit about Malta.
The streets were dark with something more than night.
Is that secret code for something?
I like cheese.
Maltese cheese?
Mice. They're all for you as long as you're in the chips. I've never seen a dame yet that's still around when you hit the skids.
Okay, Bo. Spill the beans about the cheese, or I'm gonna let this tomato get fresh with you.
Ooh, okay, I know who has it. Mean Mike took it. He's at the Lair on Evil Island.
That's all I needed to know. Let's go, you two. We're headed to Evil Island to pay a social call to Mean Mike.
Flossie had looks, brains, and all the accessories. She was better than a deck with 6 aces, but I regret to report that she also knew how to handle a gun. My gun.
I probably should have known what a can of worms I was opening by getting out of bed that day, but who wants to sleep with worms? So the 3 of them sailed off to meet Mean Mike on Evil Island, hot on the trail of the Maltese Cheese.
There he stood in the light of the volcano fall, Mean Mike. He looked about as inconspicuous as a tarantula on a slice of angel food cake.
If I knew you were coming, I'd have set fire to the place.
We're here for the cheese, Mike. The Maltese Cheese. Ever heard of it?
Nope, sorry. Sounds like you've been misinformed.
Look, Mike, I like you. I like the way you handle yourself. You seem like a reasonable man. Why don't we make a deal? What's it worth to you to drag your considerable talents back to the gutter you crawled out of?
How'd you get past the guard?
Well, to tell you the truth, I lied a little.
You despise me, don't you?
If I gave you any thought, I probably would.
That's no way to win.
Is there a way to win?
There's a way to lose more slowly.
I think I've underestimated you, Ned. I don't know why it took me so long. You've started using your incompetence as a weapon.
The only thing standing between you and a watery grave is your wits. And that's not my idea of adequate protection.
You ought to have more sense than to take chances with strangers like this.
I couldn't be fonder of you if you were my own son. But, well, if you lose a son, it's possible to get another. There's only one Maltese cheese.
So, you do have the cheese.
Had the cheese, Ned. Past tense. I'm afraid you've made a long trip for nothing.
Do I laugh now, or wait till it gets funny?
Oh, it's no joke, Flossie. I'm telling you the truth. I ate the Maltese cheese last week with some saltines and a couple of grapes.
No!
You're lying.
Having to be a nice guy is the toughest job in the world when you're not.
Well, that's good enough for me. I'm going home.
Ned, wait. I've also heard about a nice cheese from Burma. Ned? Ned!
I like cheese.
I was tired as hell, but I could afford to be tired now. I needed it to be morning. I wanted to hear doors opening, cars start, and human voices talking about baseball and the weather. I wanted to make sure there were still folks out there facing life with nothing up their sleeves but their arms. They didn't know it yet, but they had a better shot at happiness and a fair shake than they did yesterday.
You got the cheese?
You got the deed to Evil Island?
Yup.
Heavy. What is it?
The, stuff that dreams are made of.
Huh? Oh, you mean cheese?
I like cheese.
Why me?